Welcome back to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have Eric Coffin with me once again. It's been a while since Eric's been on the show. He had been a pretty frequent guest until recently. I don't know why we haven't had him on more often, but we certainly should, because he really has a lot of great insights into the equity markets, into the markets in general, and specifically in the junior exploration space, especially the early exploration stocks. I think he's as good as anyone that I know in sort of determining what the prospects are. He has a good grasp of geology and geological concepts, and knows everybody in Vancouver. Brent Cook tells me he keeps very well in touch with the people, the makers and the shakers in that small cap market up there. Eric, thanks for joining me again.
Thanks for having me, as always, Jay.
Yeah, it's really good to have you, because I know that we've got the Metals Investor Forum coming up here on May 24th and 25th. And I should mention to my listeners that if you're in the Vancouver area and would like to attend, you better sign up quickly, because that event usually sells out. And I don't know, Eric, how's it going this time? Is it the numbers coming in pretty good?
I don't think it'll be any different. I mean, we're a month away, and we're already. Yeah, we're not really that far from the RSVP level where Matt Bennett, who runs it, starts thinking about going to waiting lists. We're not very far away, and we're still a month away from the convention itself.
Yeah, they usually shut the doors on some people, and so if you want to go there, if you want to get there, it doesn't cost you anything, but you do need to sign up, because there's limited space, and it just doesn't work to have more than so many people coming in there and taking advantage of the goodies. There's the goodies. The real goodies are what you learn from the companies, but they also treat the people that go very, very well, I would suggest. And so, Eric, it's been a pretty tough time, as you know. All of us know, especially if you're in the early sector, if you're really looking at the early stage exploration stocks. We're almost at that point where a lot of them are having trouble getting a bid. So, what are your thoughts about the gold share markets, the markets in general? Let's say, why do you think gold is having such a tough time now?
I think it's just nobody's buying it because nobody's buying it. I guess I realize that's probably not a very useful explanation, but I think we've got to see the S&P roll over to really get any momentum going here. It's just retail investors in general, and it seems to be largely retail, strangely, on Wall Street. Mm-hmm. They simply don't see any risk. If you look at a lot of the forward-looking indicators in the U.S., they're not that cheery. I noticed that Morgan Stanley's Economic Surprise Index is as negative as it's been at any time in the last several years. Oh. But by the same token, the S&P is making new highs today. It seems to be, it feels very frothy. It feels very retail. A lot of sort of institutional / pro traders I know, a lot of them are selling. They're selling like crazy, actually. They're befuddled about how well the market's doing, and it's starting to make them really nervous. And me too. I mean, I don't have any problem with Wall Street going up. I mean, yippee yahoo! But it's disconcerting to me that I can't see many really logical reasons for it. It just feels like straight up Momo trading, and that rarely ends well. And I'm afraid this may be another case where it won't end well. But it not ending well will help the gold market, partially because we'll see, if that's possible, Fed policy get even looser. Bad months for Wall Street tend to be bad months for the U.S. dollar. That'll just be another impetus. And people start looking for somewhere to hide, and there's no interest rates to be had. It makes the argument for getting a little bit of bullion essentially as a non-correlated asset. Even if you're not a gold bug, there's a lot of logic to buying it as a non-correlated asset when the equity markets start doing poorly.
Well, Danielle DiMartino Booth, who underscored the point that she's not a gold bug,
Yeah.
But she still wants to have gold. So I think that's well, Eric. You know,
I'm not even really. I mean, I'm sort of a mining exploration guy. I've been fascinated by the process, and I love following exploration stocks. I wouldn't call myself a gold bug, but I can certainly see a lot of reasons why gold should head higher. I just think it needs some sort of an impetus, and the one obvious thing I see out there right now is New York rolling over. That to me, that's most likely to be the starting gun, if you will.
Yeah. Well, it certainly seems that at the late stages of these long bull markets, the retail guys are the last ones in, and they're the ones that usually get burned. And it seems to me what I see in the mornings a lot of times when the markets are opening here in New York, they start down sharply, and then they start to come back during the day. So somebody is going out overnight selling, and then who knows? But anyway, let's get to some of the stocks that you like a lot, because I think, you know, at times like this, when we're seeing the little guys get the heck beat out of them, you know, my friend Chen Lin, for example, I just saw some remarks he made about Pretium. Now, Chen doesn't go in the early stage explorations like you do so much, Eric, but he likes to look at established companies, and he can't wait for them to get hit a little bit harder. He'd like to pick some up, and that's the way a lot of successful investors treat these kind of markets, as an opportunity. Of course, you have to have some dry powder to take advantage of it. But let's talk about one of them that I know you like a lot, and I do too. They're a sponsor of this show, Great Bear Resources. Certainly some phenomenal assays, and the stock, I guess we're looking at only 38 million shares at 284 Canadian. Earlier today, it's about a little over $110 million market cap, 80 million US, something like that. My question about that, Eric, is, you know, yes, okay, we've seen some numbers. We don't have a resource yet, and I think it would be premature. But what do you think about the scale of this target here? Has it got scale?
It's got a lot of scale, actually. If you look at the main feature, the main structure, if you want to call it that, on their project, which is basically the Dixie syncline, and the property name is also Dixie in Red Lake. It's a very large feature. There are a lot of these sort of D2 folds, and D2 is just deformation stage 2. This type of folding, and it's basically just an area of weakness that allows fluid flows to come up. That's what delivers the gold into the area where you're drilling. Those D2 folds, in combination with ultramafics, there's a couple of very large ultramafic dikes running through this thing. These things are all kind of mushed together, and that's kind of the classic combination for very high-grade gold shoots in Red Lake. The big thing that Great Bear's got three things going for it, in my mind. One is very large target scale. I mean, the area they're drilling now is tiny in relation to the whole structure. Most of the structure's never seen a drill hole or anything. There's a lot of work to be done just to find these targets. And you most of the time in Red Lake, you get these high-grade shoots. They don't usually have a lot of strike length. They might be 50, 100 meters long. But the key to Red Lake is these things literally go down for kilometers.
Right.
The original Red Lake mine, which is really what gave birth to Goldcorp, I think they've mined down to about 2.5 kilometers now, and it's still wide open. So the trick is to find these things, figure out how they dip, what the dip is, what the strike is, and what the plunge is, and those three things sort of define how it's going to go down vertically. Because they're small targets, you need to figure out all those three things fairly well so that you can keep hitting it as you go deep. The second thing that Great Bear has going for it is a great geological team led by Bob Singh. Bob's got a ton of Red Lake experience. He knows how these deposits work. There's a lot of the other people working on the project are ex-Goldcorp people that drilled these things for years at the original mine, so they know exactly what they look like and how to chase them. The third thing it's got going for it is a fat bank account and a really tight share structure.
Yeah.
Because the thing with Red Lake, these type of deposits, you need to drill a lot of holes. There's no way around it. You got to drill tons and tons and tons of holes. And where a lot of small companies have a big problem with this deposit type is they end up diluting the hell out of themselves in order to raise money to drill the number of holes you need to do. Great Bear is in a very envious position that they raised a lot of money at like $1.50 at $2.50 with flow through. So they started the drill program they're doing now with $15 million. Their drill costs are low because they're right in town. They got a great drill company doing the drilling for them. They just expanded the current program to 60,000 meters, which is probably 100 drill holes, something like that, 150 probably. Even after they're done that, they have enough money sitting in their bank account to basically do that much drilling again. And they've got probably $8 or $9 million in the money warrants, some of which I own, that'll all get exercised. So, and like you said, they've got like 35 million shares of it. They're in a great position to just keep building this thing.
No, it's fantastic. Really one of the most exciting stories I've been involved with in some time. Because we don't have much time, West Haven Resources, one I have not followed. You recommended I did. I just didn't get on it quickly enough. I see the stock has come back quite a bit. Actually, it's cut in half since January, the start of the year. And I'm thinking maybe this is one I should take a look at again now at these levels.
I think it's a good time to look at it. I mean, it's an interesting project. It's literally 2 hours from Vancouver. I've been to the property a couple of times. This is an area. The guy that founded the company is Gren Thomas, who some of your really long-time listeners may remember as the guy that founded Aber Resources, which made a famous diamond find and ended up being a large producing company. He's the guy that founded that. The discoverer of the diamond pipes, of course, his daughter, Ira. She's not directly involved with West Haven, but I know for a fact he's a big shareholder. His son, Gareth, is the CEO. They've been working in this area now called the Spencer Ridge Gold Belt for like 9 years. And you got to give these guys credit because through a really crap market, they kept moving the projects forward. It was usually Gren and Gareth writing the checks, which is why Gren owns almost 40% of the stock. He didn't get it for free. He bought it over the years. And it's a deceptive stock. They have 90 million shares out, but the float's actually not that large on this thing because there's Gren, the family, Plethora Fund, which is a very smart gold fund out of Holland. That group probably owns 60% of it. They made a really exciting epithermal discovery late last year. The two best drill holes were like 17 meters at 25 grams and 46 meters at 10 grams. I mean, it's an impressive property. The problem they have is there's 100 meters of overburden. There's no outcrop. They're basically prospecting with a drill and trying to figure it out. They put out more good holes, but the last set of holes was people's expectations were so high they didn't meet the expectations. They weren't terrible holes, but people were expecting so much. It got whacked down to 60 cents yesterday. It's back to about 70 today. The holes they're drilling right now, there's 2 holes they're drilling on a target where they think their main zone has been shifted over. If those holes hit, they probably add another 400 or 500 meters of open strike length. And it's important to keep in mind that these guys have got a lot of other targets on this property, and this property, ironically, was not their primary property. The property they really want to drill is another one called Schooner. They drilled shovel nose last year because there were so many forest fire closures. They couldn't drill at Schooner, so they drilled at shovel nose instead, which had already been logged, so there was no trees to burn, basically. But they've got a lot of great projects that really straight up great management team, very experienced. They should have raised more money late last year. Yours truly was bugging them too, but they didn't. But they did raise about $3 million about a month ago. They've got enough money to drill probably another 15 or 20,000 meters. So there'll be a little bit of a lull here after they finish these holes. They'll wait for a breakup, and they're just finishing permitting a much larger set of drill pads. Then they'll be back at it doing a 15 or 20,000 meter program in the summer with 2 drill rigs. So the timing to actually look at it now is actually quite good.
It's a good time.
You're in this
All right, Eric, we're going to have to leave it go at that. We're out of time already. I know you wanted to talk about another one, Northern Shield Resources, 6.5 cents. It's obviously a very early story, but all I can tell my listeners is the best.
It's very, very. It's another epithermal system. They found it. Nobody knew it was there. They're right on the top, so they're not going to generate exciting numbers. But what interests me is it does have gold at surface, and it's very big. The system is very, very large.
Okay, well, the way for people to take advantage of this knowledge that Eric pulls together, and it really is very valuable, I must say. I always try to listen to Eric as much as I can when we go to these shows, but you can you can take advantage of that by subscribing to his service. It's HRA, Eric Coffin's HR, HRAadvisors.com, right? Is the place to go?
Advisory, yeah.
Advisory.com. All right, well, just... check it out and go there and sign up for Eric's letter. There's lots and lots of good stuff. He works very hard and has a lot of experience in this sector and very valuable. Thank you, Eric, for being with me again, and we have to do it more often. Thanks for being with us today.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, Jay.